Hello, and welcome to my show, Gabriel's Religious Review. And today, you might be wondering why I'm wearing a spaghetti strainer on my head, but that has to do with the religion that we're reviewing today. Pastafarianism, a strange but true religion that has gained a small gathering of followers in recent years. But let's go ahead and get ourselves started without any further ado. We'll start off with the history. This religion was founded by Bobby Henderson in 2005. Now, Bobby Henderson felt that in Kansas, students were being taught more about intelligent design than evolution. So, in an effort to convince the state board to increase the amount of evolution being taught in the state, he wrote a letter, and in this letter, he outlined a made-up religion with a deity known as the Flying Spaghetti Monster. And such, he sent it. And he received absolutely no response from the state board. So he went online and published his letter. And then it blew up. It became so popular that people were writing to Bobby Henderson to give more information about his new religion. And eventually, Bobby Henderson was given $80,000 to write a gospel of the Flying Spaghetti Monster, comparative to the Christian's Bible. However, Pastafarians believe that a pirate captain named Captain Mosey founded the religion a long time ago over the seven seas. And so therefore, Pastafarianism began as a joke, but has grown to be much more than that. Now let's get some specs on their population. It's speculated maybe they have somewhere around 2,000 people. It's really hard to tell due to the satirical nature of the religion, since no one will take it seriously enough to give serious numbers. And the SpaghettiMonster.org has a speculation that there is maybe even 1 million people. Maybe. Now let's move on to the deities. As aforementioned, their deity is the Flying Spaghetti Monster. This is the center of everything, the end-all be-all, the unmoved mover, if you're into philosophy. And they believe that the Flying Spaghetti Monster is the source of all creation. And their creation story is even very similar to that of the Christians and the Jews. Now we have their creation story right here. And this goes as such. On the first day, this Flying Spaghetti Monster separated the water from the heavens. And then on the second day, he created land for himself to tread. And in complement to that land, he created a giant beer volcano. And then on the third day, he created the seas and land a second time from his drunkenness from the beer volcano. And then, on that day, he also created a midget known as man. And he also created him another midget woman. And the midget woman and man lived happily ever after in the Olive Garden of Eden until the Flying Spaghetti Monster had a cooking accident and flooded the land. Now we have some of their beliefs. They believe that humans evolved from pirates. And to support their claim, they say that humans and pirates share upwards to 99.9% of their DNA. They also believe that in heaven there is, as aforementioned, a beer volcano. And they also believe that there is a stripper factory alongside that beer volcano. And they believe that literal belief is key to their religion, but at the same time they feel like the only way to achieve true spiritual enlightenment is through the community aspect of religion, rather than individual soul searching. And they don't require that you actually believe in the Flying Spaghetti Monster. They're very accepting to other people as well. Now we have some of their practices. As you can see, this woman is wearing a colander on her head as well, as I was in the beginning of the video. But the colander is a very specific religious practice for the Pastafarians. They believe that wearing a colander on your head is paying homage to the flying spaghetti monster. This can be compared to the Jewish yarmulke, or a turban. And they do have some prayers, especially their own rendition, if you will, of the Lord's Prayer. And they have a noodle dance for a special noodle ceremony. And they also have some hymns. And they also have holidays such as Ramadan. Now let's join in holy matrimony. Not matrimony. Let's pray. Our saucer, which art in a colander, draining be your noodles. Thy noodle come, thy meatballness be done, on earth as it is meaty in heaven. Give us this day our daily sauce, and forgive us our lack of piracy, as we pirate and smuggle against those who lack piracy with us. And lead us not into vegetarianism, but deliver us from non-red meat sauce. For thine is the colander, the noodle, and the sauce, for and ever and ever. Amen. Now we have some hymns. The first one, A Meaty Pasta is Our God, is very comparable to the hymn, A Mighty Fortress is Our God, and by his noodly appendage. And then, What sauce is this? And I am the praise of life. And holy, holy, Pastafarianism. And my personally favorite, We Three Cheeses, comparable to the Christian song, We Three Kings. They do have ethics in the Pastafarian Church, and those are called the 8 I'd really rather you didn't. And I have them right here for you. Number 1, I'd really rather you didn't like a sanctimonious, holier than arse when describing my noodle goodness. Number 2, I'd really rather you didn't use my existence as a means to oppress, subjugate, punish, eviscerate, and or be mean to others. In other words, respect your neighbor as yourself. Love your neighbor as yourself. And then there's number 3. I'd really rather you didn't judge people for the way they look, or how they dress, or the way they talk. And number 4. I'd really rather you didn't indulge in conduct that offends yourself or your willing, consenting partner of legal age and mental maturity. Number 5. I'd really rather you didn't challenge the bigoted, misogynist, hateful ideas of others on an empty stomach. And then number 6. I'd really rather you didn't build multi-million-dollar churches, shrines, mosques, temples, when the money can be better spent. In other words, go and give that money to charity. Don't waste it all to yourself. And then number 7. I'd really rather you didn't go around telling people that I talk to you. And then number 8. I'd really rather you didn't go do unto others as you would have them do unto you. If you're into stuff that uses a lot of leather, lubricants, in Las Vegas. Now, you must follow the 8 I'd really rather you didn't. Now we have the sightings aspect of their religion. This is a pretty important part of their religion. It is comparable to the coming of Christ, second coming of Christ, almost. And this is where they post on their website the things that look like this flying spaghetti monster, as painted in many paintings that look like Christian paintings, but modified. And yes, if you go on the Flying Spaghetti website, you can find this, and it is very intriguing. Now there is the ordination aspect of this religion. It is extremely easy to get ordained in this religion. If you go to the Church of the Flying Spaghetti Monster.org, you can pay $34 for a certificate of ordination. And this falls right in line with their loose idea of religion. Now, we'll end with some closing comments. Now we know that Pastafarians have some weird practices, such as the colander and their bunch of Ramadan, where they only eat pasta for an entire month after noon, or sundown, nothing. And they have an interesting history, which they started as a joke, but now they're more. And they have mind-boggling beliefs, such as the beer volcano and the stripper factory. And it is a real religion, but it is also a very loose religion. And that's all, folks. And now, here are some sources and credits in